And then this guy comes and sits down next to Brian, and we're all sitting there. It's not like we're in our like private booths. We're just sitting in like lounge chairs. And this guy just starts taking off his pants next to Brian, and like it's like the record skipped, and everybody in there was
so funny.
staring at him. What's going on, guys? You are listening to Whipped Cream Sam, the podcast where we talk about all things food, friends, and fuckery. I'm your host, Ronnie Sanchez, here. Joined with me, as always, my co-host, Brian Costanza. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Ronnie? How we doing today?
Doing great.
I'm feeling pretty good. Had a pretty good week. Ate some good food. Cooked some fun food.
Always.
Learned some new things, which is a good time. And happy to get to record day. We love record day.
Every day we're learning stuff. Should we kick it off?
Yeah, why don't you light that stove, Ronnie?
Ooh, it's a cold stove.
Cold stove. Reverse griddle.
I'm drinking the New Belgium Mountain Time Premium Lager.
Oh, nice.
It's a good one. Nice and crispy.
I always like to have variety when I get up to the stew.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to go for this. Yeah, let's do this. This is fun.
What do you got today? Brian has his cooler, as always.
Always have my cooler. I'm really like not that much of a beer drinker, but then we like started doing this pod, and now all of a sudden I have like 7 different types of beer in the fridge at all times, which is pretty cool.
Now he's hooked.
That was hot.
Ooh.
This is Edmund's Oast Brewing Company. The name of the beer is Cereal for Dinner. It is a blonde ale with almonds, vanilla, lactose, and coconut. Lactose is an interesting.
That's like a lacto fermentation. That's a lactobacillus. It gives it like a creamy, like a creaminess to the beer.
Like boobs.
Like boobs.
Like some big old mommy milkers. This is from Charleston, South Carolina.
Boobs in a can.
So, boobs in a can. We love that. Love boobs.
Very good.
On this pod. Friends of the pod.
Friends of the pod. Boobs are friends of the pod.
Yeah. Oh, and that's really nice. It's really nice. Fuck yeah.
Good stuff.
Fuck yeah.
So what you been cooking this week? You had you had Vietnam this week.
Yeah, let's get to the update of the Brian and Sammy food challenge.
Uh-huh.
Sammy was kind enough to grace Vietnam with me. So
that's a win.
It was a big win, and I, like I said last episode, like pretty inexperienced in that realm, even though like experienced eater, inexperienced cook, however you say that. It was really fun. We made pho. I made pho. Broth was like pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just like beef stock, kind of like a light beef stock, but then really heavy in aromatics. So there's cinnamon, like whole cinnamon sticks, cloves, star anise,
Christmas spices.
Yeah, interesting. Like I can't believe I never really put that together before. But like that is what the broth is, and it turned out really good. We had some pretty simple like rice noodles, Thai basil, all the classic fixins, fish sauce. Got a new batch of fish sauce, which is always a good time. Sometimes you have that like fish sauce that's kind of the bottom of the canister, and it's just like, I don't know, it's not as good as like a fresh bottle. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what, does it get too old?
It gets like
it's already really
it gets like
old.
less stinky than it's supposed to.
Okay, yeah.
It's also like actually like, well, I just like upgraded.
Do you have a brand?
Dude, I get that Viet whatever. That's the one I got this time. It's like a big bottle. It has like light, it's like kind of like almost teal text.
Uh-huh.
Let me look it up real quick because I want to get the brand right.
Yeah, I'm doing that as well. The Three Crabs is the one that I typically go to. Now, I don't know if that's the best one, but it's what I've been getting for a while, and tried and true. Some of them, I think it's the like Filipino fish sauce. It's like unfiltered. It looks pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah,
don't want to offend anybody, but yeah, my Western palate is, I don't know, it's pretty intense for me.
Dude, well, did we talk about that like fermented fish sauce? So it's like fish sauce and then it's like fermented on top of that? Is that
right? No, that was something that we may have had that when we were in Thailand. We had that like papaya salad. Was it at the we ate at the
spot?
Yeah. It was, we ate at this restaurant where they cook all the pork in these like open clay pots, and I'm pretty sure there we had a papaya salad, and it had this like, it was funky. It was really funky, and you liked it a lot more than I did. And not that I didn't like it. It was just, it was intense. And it was also like, it was super super spicy.
Right. It was. No, was that the larb? That was the. We had it with. It was like. I know we had them together.
Maybe now.
That larb was so gnar. I didn't like that. I ate it. I didn't. My Western palate was not ready for that. Yeah. This Three Crabs is the one that I get.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
The fish sauce. Yeah. So that was an upgrade from my like whack ass oyster brand fish sauce. But yeah. Pho came out really good. We were excited about it. I will definitely be returning to that because it's simpler than I thought it was. Some Asian cuisine is like, there's so many little components that it like can make it like challenging to do the whole thing. Like you can pull out different pieces of what you want, but like
sure,
if you really want to get the whole experience, it's kind of like a tougher thing to do because there's like, you have to spend time making this little side dish and this little side dish and this little salad and this little pickled thing. And it's just like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Pho is not really like that. It's just kind of like make the broth. There are ingredients, but there's not like much to them, like slice the rare beef.
But you're kind of throwing them all in raw, right?
So like, yeah. A lot of the ingredients go in raw, like super thin mandolined onions went in there.
Mm-hmm.
The beef goes in raw. I just got some like chuck round, like, and just sliced it like super thin against the grain. And then that also was in the broth. So I took like half of the beef that I bought and seared that and put that and cooked that in the broth. So like, sometimes you get, I don't know if they call it like brisket, like so you can get it with or without brisket. You could do like the cooked beef and the rare beef, and every combination of that, and you can add meatballs or whatever. But this, I took each of those and kind of layered it on each other, and it was nice.
It's really funny. There's in Reno, there's this restaurant. It might just be called Asian Noodle. I can't remember exactly now, but it was one of those places. They have a huge menu. It was in the Costco parking lot. I don't know if you've ever been to that spot, but they have a huge menu. And I was there with some friends, and we all order. And like as the waiter's like about to walk away, I like grab him. I was like, "Hey, do you have wonton soup?" And he's like, "Yeah, we got wonton soup." I was like, "Can I just get a cup of wonton soup?" And he's like, "Sure." And one of my buddies, he had ordered pho already, and then he was like, "Ooh, can I get a cup of wonton soup as well?" And he's like, "Okay, two cups of wonton soup." And when they bring our food out, first of all, he comes in and he sets down like a gallon of soup, like broth. It's a giant bowl, and he sets it.
Oh, the wonton was that,
dude? Yeah, he sets it down, and I was like, "God damn, it's a lot." I was like thinking like, okay, well, this must just be for us to share. Then, which it was still a lot. And then he comes back with another gallon of wonton soup and he sets it down. And then he comes back with my buddy's pho, and it's another gallon of soup. It's like, dude, why didn't you warn us? You would like, there's two people here, and you put down 3 gallons of soup in front of us, and then I like my entrees were like still coming. And then also my buddy had ordered like, I think he ordered like 2 different kinds of meats with his pho, and they came out on like sheet trays, and he like these like half pans, he set some down, just like all the meat. It was absolutely fucking ridiculous. I think he ended up like scooping. It was delicious, but I think he ended up like scooping out all of the wontons and throwing it into his pho.
That's awesome.
But
what's the place? I mean, you say it's in the Costco parking lot in Reno, but
yeah, it's next to that. There's a sushi spot next to it. I think maybe Sushi Pier.
I used to go to that one 777 a bunch, and really like that spot.
I cannot remember. It's been a while since I've been there. I want to say the place was just called Asian Noodle.
That's so funny.
And then there was like it's like Asian Noodle, and then on one side of the business was like a massage parlor, and the other side was the sushi spot.
A little rub and soup.
Yeah, like when we were in Thailand, and the 4 of us are just getting our foot massages. You get like an hour foot massage for like $5 a piece or something. And then this guy comes and sits down next to Brian, and we're all sitting there. It's not like we're in our like private booths. We're just sitting in like lounge chairs. And this guy just starts taking off his pants next to Brian, and like it's like the record skipped, and everybody, all like the workers in there. I don't know if this was the kind of place. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a rub and tug kind of place. It seemed pretty straightforward. I don't know. Maybe there's things that happen behind the scenes, but everyone that was there was strictly getting foot rubs, except for this guy who came to take his pants off. And everybody in there was
so funny.
staring at him.
Yeah, just to set the scene a little bit, there's like maybe like 4 or 5 beds in a row that have the like drapes that you can pull around them, so you can be in the bed. And there's one guy that like has his arms getting pulled behind his back, and like a foot is getting like shoved into like between his shoulder blades. And it's like a dim, dark room, and it's hot, right? It's like 100 degrees. Maybe like that was like the chill place to hang out. So it was only like 85 degrees in there. And yeah, I think that guy had just got done like getting his massage, and he was, I don't know if he was American. He was definitely Western, like white dude. And
okay.
The dude, the Thai kid that like, I don't know, he's probably like, I don't know, what do you say, like 16 years old, maybe? Just got done giving him a foot massage, and like dude stands up, and he's wearing these like pink shorts, and he pulls his pants down, and like, this is our first time in Thailand, right? Like, we don't really know what's about to go on. The look in the kid's eye was like,
it's like, dude, I'm not going to jerk you off right now.
Dude, is this about to go down? He's like, and like, I think he was just getting changed, but it was like, so it was just weird enough that it was, and we didn't know, and it was in a dark room on like the 4th floor of like an Asian kind of rundown grocery store, that it was a weird moment.
Yeah, it was weird. We were in Chinatown, and in Bangkok, and there was a lady holding like a sandwich board sign with like the massage prices on it. we had been walking all day, and got some foot massages, but so we just follow her in, and she takes us in like through like a grocery store, and then we go in through like some side entrance, and then it goes like to an elevator. We go upstairs, and it's like, that building was so weird. It was like I don't even know. It was like all like small like businesses inside of there, right? There was like a karaoke spot, and then like inside of there was some other kind of like, I don't know if it was like a grocery store. It was like a trinket. They just had like random like decorations. It was like party decorations. It was like a party supply store that was up there, I remember. And then we just like go into one of these offices, and it was like some massage place, and it was like a totally normal experience once we were in there, except for that one guy that was like taking his pants off. And it was awesome.
We actually have a place that's just like it is a Asian market, and it's in downtown Charlotte, or not downtown Charlotte, but outside of downtown. And it's just like that. Like, if you're driving by it, you're like, I don't even know what goes on over there, and it like reminds me of like an Ames kind of like a really shitty department store.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's like totally the feel of it, but like quartered off, and like there's like little tiny businesses in there where they're selling trinkets, and super weird and pretty fun.
They give massages in there?
I had some dim sum there once. That was pretty fire.
Okay.
I actually got like kind of weird in there with some dim sum. I never really like had the full dim sum experience, and do you get like the squid, and it's like I'm like, oh, there's like the little plate of noodles right there, and it's like not noodles, it's like fucking like crunchy like squid, like chopped, super like
interesting.
They had some really good stuff.
You sure it was squid?
Octopus, squid? I think it was squid.
Okay.
We were with a kid who like really knows his dim sum, and like I'm all about it. So I want to try like new weird stuff, and like
right.
So when I see something that looks like somewhat appetizing, I'll like, yeah, throw that on. And when I thought it was noodles, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, let me get that little plate of noodles. And they're like, oh, you Chinese, you like this. I was like, I think I took a bite and a half, and I was like, I don't know about this. Yeah, we'll find a picture to throw up.
When Rochelle and I, we went, we did our date nights, and Rochelle and I went to that sushi spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good. But they had puffer fish on the menu, and I'd never had it. And it's like, I know that if you like cut it wrong or whatever, like it can kill you. And so it's just like kind of been on my list, that something I wanted to try. And so I ordered it, and I really thought it was going to be like sushi, like sashimi, like over a piece of rice or something. Is that nigiri? Is nigiri over the rice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nigiri. Sorry, but it came out in a bowl, and it was all like sliced thin little like ribbons, and it was like eating a bowl of rubber bands. It was I couldn't chew through it at all.
That's so interesting.
I don't know if it was the way that it was prepared or whatever, but yeah, I couldn't chew it. It was like I was trying to chew it, and it was just like squirming between my teeth. I like couldn't bite through them at all.
I never thought much about it, because same. I thought that it would just be like a piece of nigiri or whatever, like a tender piece of fish.
And I think you can get it that way.
You're supposed to like cop a buzz from that too. You like, yeah, you get a little like because it's deadly, and you're getting like parts of poison. Yeah, you get some toxins in you, and then
a little bit of the toxin. Yeah, that sushi place, they also had a whale, which I did not try, but seeing that on a sushi menu was like pretty gnarly.
Bangkok's nuts. Yeah, it's fucking shark fin soup. Yeah, it's so fun.
I love it.
So fun. What have you been cooking this week?
I broke out the smoker again. I did some ribs, which were, man, there were parts of the ribs that were like really good. But the cut of the ribs that I got was just not a good cut. And there was like parts of it that were like super weird and tough. They're spare ribs. And like the spare ribs, like at the end, they have like those like small bones. Yeah. They're not chine bones. They're almost like cartilagey.
Right. Yeah.
But within that, there was like weird layers of like, I don't know if it was silver skin or I don't know. It was just, we got the like 3-pack from Costco, and the first rack that we got were incredible. And then I cryovac the other 2 that were in that pack, and that was the second one, and they were not great.
Huh.
It wasn't very good.
I saw a picture. It looked great.
I mean, they were good. They were good, but it was, yeah, I kind of had mixed feelings on that. Yeah, but then I cooked up a flank steak. We had a bunch of tomatoes from the garden that were all going bad, and so I threw them in the cast iron and threw them in the oven real high, and kind of like charred them up. Threw some garlic in there, just a little salt and pepper, olive oil, and kind of let it go to town a bit. And then at the end, I hit it with some balsamic vinegar and gave it like another 5 minutes or so. Kind of brought it all together. Threw it down on the plate. Last second, I threw in a bunch of basil from the garden too. Threw it down on the plate. The seared flank steak. and then a good old box of Kraft mac and cheese.
Hell yeah.
It was fantastic.
I love that.
If you haven't had the Kraft mac and cheese, here's a tip for all the listeners. If you haven't had the Kraft mac and cheese spiral noodles, it's a game changer. It really is a game changer. It's a game changer.
Change your whole life. Yeah.
It's so much better. I don't know why. I think they just hold on to the sauce a lot better. It just has like.
Is that your favorite mac and cheese? Is the Kraft?
No, I mean the favorite is like legit homemade.
Yeah, I like the Annie's sometimes.
The white shells.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, no, those are good too.
I mean, as far as like easy going mac and cheese go, I mean, yeah, obviously you can go crazy and you can make the cheese sauce. And you
sure.
Add bacon to it and pork belly and fucking all sorts of scallions and shit. You know, I mean, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, when we did that, like the smoked poblano mac and cheese was so good. Like, yeah, would I take that over Kraft? Absolutely.
Sometimes in a pinch, you know.
A Monday night when you need to throw something together quick, you know, it was perfect.
Dude, you know what's kind of crazy? You just have some fucking ramen noodles, little packet noodles sitting around.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Drain out all the water and fucking throw some cheese in there and mix that up real good. Yeah.
Do you throw a couple Kraft singles in there and then mix it all up? That was when we were talking about like that was kind of like how we started like experimenting cooking with like ramen and just like making different things. That was like one of the things that I did was take the noodles, like pour in the chicken packet, cook it in that, and then like strained out like 90% of it, and then throw in a couple Kraft singles in there and mix it all up.
That's awesome.
So good. It's just like glue, it's so sticky.
That's awesome. I just watched a Uncle Roger short. You know Uncle Roger, first of all?
Oh yeah.
So for the listener, Uncle Roger is is he Vietnamese? I
think he's Chinese.
Is he Chinese?
Isn't that his whole thing?
Anyway, he like.
Well, it's also a bit. He doesn't actually talk like that.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. So he has these like cooking shows where he's like mostly like critiquing like other cooking videos, but he also like is cooking stuff and all sorts of stuff. And he like speaks with this like super thick Chinese accent. I'm just like, this guy is like hilarious. He's kind of making fun of people, but he has like the super thick accent, and it's like just an awesome program. And then like turns out like he just has an American accent, but he's like doing that accent on top of it. What was I saying? Oh, because he had like a video where he made. There's like 2 Italian cooks that he was like collabing with, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make carbonara, and he just like takes like carbonara like packet, like ramen packet, and mixes it together, and it's just a really funny good time. He's awesome. It's like,
that's funny.
I've seen him collab with a bunch of people. I've seen like some of his like solo work too, and it's pretty good. He's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's done stuff with like Gordon Ramsay even.
He has, because he's like critiquing like
just so crazy
Gordon Ramsay stuff, and yeah, Gordon Ramsay got a hold of it and sent some shots back at him or something, or just like wanted to work with him or whatever. But that's awesome when content creators get in with like the celebrity. It's awesome.
Also, he just rips on Jamie Oliver, which I think is so fucking funny. that guy does not know how to cook. I don't know why he's famous. Funny, he rips him apart pretty good.
He rips on everyone, which is awesome.
He does, yeah.
We love when people rip on other people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, should we get to it? Should we get to our topic here?
Yeah, let's fire it up.
All right, so Brian actually brought this up. He sent me a video that I had seen quite a while ago. And the video is called The Deceptive World of Ghost Kitchens. And it was made by a YouTuber named Eddie Burback. And you guys should watch that video. It's crazy, but the premise of the video was he was deep diving into the world of ghost kitchens. And if you don't know what a ghost kitchen is essentially a restaurant without dining space, and they only sell food for online delivery through apps like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. And or I guess sometimes they could have their own delivery operation, but it's mainly like through delivery apps. And as a result, they don't have any kind of storefront. And the issue with that is that the consumer does not know that they are buying from a ghost kitchen, or even what a ghost kitchen is most of the times.
Sure. And so the idea of like having a business that's just like delivery only isn't really the thing that is problematic. But what winds up happening is it's not just one restaurant that's operated in this ghost kitchen, right? So like you could have anywhere from one restaurant to many restaurants, and like Eddie goes into it in the video, but he winds up finding like 70 plus restaurants operating out of this same address, which okay, so then like what's the problem with that? And all these places are like kind of have shared dishes, right? So it's like, okay, this restaurant here has this sandwich on it, and then also this other restaurant has this other sandwich on it. Maybe it has a different name, maybe it doesn't, but it's the exact same sandwich, right? And it's like on a different menu, but it's ran out of the same kitchen. So what winds up happening is they're just like flooding the delivery apps,
right,
with like all of their stuff. So if I'm a mom and pop restaurant, well, Brian's Noodle Bar has one spot on Uber Eats, on DoorDash, but when I go in there, this ghost kitchen has 10 different restaurants, all essentially serving the same food, but they're just like overwhelming the
market
consumer with choices. Yeah. And it's pretty nuts. And I had no idea that it even existed. I was like pretty shocked by it. I, same as kind of just explained, like didn't see the problem with it right away, but then I was like, oh my god, like this is like crazy, like deceptive. And all these places, like they also have like, I don't know, it looks like really trendy like online menus and stuff, and it's like this is definitely pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. Like all of the names of all the restaurants, they all resemble something that would have been like named in like ChatGPT, and it's just like these super generic names or like super cheesy names, and then all the images on their websites, or I should say like on the apps, through Grubhub and whatnot, all of the images are just like stock photos, and the food that you end up getting a lot of time doesn't look anything like what you had ordered online. So in the video, Eddie first of all, he does some research and he discovers that there's like 43 restaurants being like operated out of this one location. And
that's it. Yeah, 40 out of the one, and then like right across the street another 30 or something with the same. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. So in like, less than 2-mile radius or whatever, there's 75 restaurants that are like closest to you if you are in that area, and that's probably what is going to like populate first on these apps. And so what they did is he actually went through, him and his girlfriend went through, and they found this like fried cod sandwich. And well, it turns out there's a lot of restaurants that all sell a fried cod sandwich, and they all seem to have the same exact thing. So he places the order for pickup, and he goes to pick it up, and he tells them, yeah, I'm here to pick up the 9 cod sandwiches from 9 different restaurants. And they don't even bat an eye, and they just, you want this all in one bag? And they package it up for him, they give it to him. And it's so much the same that there's not even branding on any of the packaging. Every single one looks exactly the same. And as he opens them all up, they are exactly the same. Every single one was the exact same codfish sandwich. And he had no idea which one was from which quote unquote restaurant, even though they're technically all coming off of the same line.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is a concept that you like want to like share ingredients between dishes so that you're like kind of maximizing like your efficiency in your restaurant and as far as you're buying and stuff. But like the the thought of like operating 7 different restaurants with the same menu is just wild. I mean, like
insane.
And then like my wheels start to turn on like, oh, like, well, how does that actually like go down, and what is the ordering like, and like are they all like aggregated, right? Like, can the operator of this one ghost kitchen know that, like, okay, maybe they're looking at it as like, I think I would look at it as like, oh, this is how many fish sandwiches we're selling, not how many restaurant A is selling and restaurant B is selling, restaurant C is selling. I would imagine that, like, when you're running that line, they're coming in just like tickets, right? Like just
Sure.
regular tickets, which like, I don't even know if there is really a distinction between these things. That's not how I would run it, right? I would just run it like it's just orders come into the kitchen.
Sure. Yeah, and the way that it works is when the driver gets to the restaurant, quote unquote restaurant, they're like met with like an iPad, basically a touch screen, and they go and like select, the restaurant that they're picking up from and the order, and it's just a big parcel locker. Like if any of you have lived at an apartment that has like a parcel locker or something like that, or you gone to like one of those Amazon pickup spots, you punch in the code and then a door just opens up and you grab your package and you leave. So I mean, there's no human interaction, so it's like completely soulless dining experience. Not that, I mean, when you're ordering food delivery, like you're already eliminating like the face to face like interaction
Sure.
that goes with like dining, but it's taken it to a whole new level.
It's just a catering kitchen. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like a regular restaurant in the sense that like you're making stuff to order. But so didn't you have one by you that you've dined at or in the airport or something? Is that right?
Yeah. So in the Raleigh Durham airport, they do have like one of the terminals. They have this, and we went one time. I think it was like odd hours, maybe it was really late or something, and everything was closed except for this virtual kitchen. And it is the same thing. It's just like a wall of lockers, and then there's a couple like touchscreen order stations, and you go in, and there's like 10 different restaurants on there, like Chinese food, pizza, burgers, wings, and you go through and you just order what you want, and then they text you when your order's ready. And when they text you, you get a code, and you go up and you punch in your code, and then the locker opens. And when the locker opens, you can see inside of the kitchen, and it is just like a big open commercial kitchen space with people working back there. It's a really bizarre experience.
It's so weird. I wonder, do we know how long this has been a thing? I imagine like since like, so I also understand it that like many of these are not owned really by like typical like restaurant owners, and they're more closer to like a tech startup, right? They're gonna like design this, and they're not running a restaurant, right? They are like in some sense like hiring people to cook food, but they're not really operating in the same way at all. One of the things that came up is like how these places actually like pass food inspection, and if they don't really have an address, like, and if I'm operating this kitchen and it's in the same space as another kitchen, if one kitchen fails, do they all fail, or are they all independent? And what I understand is that like some of these like health department workers are like ending up in this place, and they like aren't even aware that there's other restaurants operating out of the same place. They're just like, oh, I'm coming for Joe's Fish Shack, and actually it turns out that it's Joe's Fish Shack. It's like Billy's Barbecue. It's like pizza restaurant. It's like 100 different things.
Right. Yeah, I wonder, like, the food inspector keep coming back to the same place, and they're like, yeah, I'm here for Billy's Barbecue. And they're like, oh yeah, it's like I did your inspection yesterday. It's like under a different name. Like you have to inspect for each one, or is it like like an umbrella inspect? I don't know. But yeah, that also like raises a lot of questions about like cross contamination and things like allergies.
Sure.
If you're operating a, I don't know, an oyster bar out of there. Somebody has a shellfish allergy.
100%.
You know, I don't think any of these places are shucking oysters, but you know, peanuts or whatever.
But you wouldn't expect a pizza restaurant necessarily to like be serving peanuts, right? Like that.
Right.
But like in this setting, 100%, because like the pizza restaurant is operating right next to the Chinese restaurant that has peanut sauce or
for sure,
whatever, right? And I wouldn't doubt that like these people they're not dumb, right? They're like aware that these things exist. I would expect like they are restaurateurs on some level, but obviously like scary not knowing where your food's coming from or if it's even a restaurant that you're ordering from. You can get fully duped.
Absolutely,
right? You could be like, oh, I'm getting food from this local restaurant down the street. I've never seen it, but I heard of it. And
less than a mile from you, you're like, oh, that's weird. I've never heard of that place. But they've got, you know,
super weird
5-star ratings and 300 reviews or whatever. You just have no idea. But I guess a lot of these ghost kitchens kind of like blew up during COVID. You know, when everybody was home and delivery services were, you know, ramped up big time. And so a lot of these, this to me is even weirder, is that a lot of these ghost kitchens are actually run out of legitimate restaurants. So like I did some research, and like Outback Steakhouse has a ghost kitchen called Tender Shack, and Chili's has one called It's Just Wings, and Ruby Tuesdays has one called Wow Bao, so that maybe they're slinging wow or bao buns, wow bao buns out of Ruby Tuesdays, and it goes on and on. And it's like all these different restaurants, and even Chuck E. Cheese has one called Pasquale's. If I'm ordering my pizza and I think that I'm ordering it from a fucking mom and pop pizza place and it's Chuck E. Cheese pizza, dude, I'm gonna be pretty fucking pissed.
But you probably wouldn't know either, right? I mean, like you'll know that it's shitty when you get it, but you won't know why it's shitty. You just thought that it was a shitty pizza, right? I mean, unless you're like going to Chuck E. Cheese on the regular and then you're also like ordering, you know, like you have to like order them next to each other to like put that together, I would think, at least for myself, you know?
Yeah. And so like I think like one of the probably the most well known is the Mr. Beast burger. And I do think it was probably started with good intentions for like a lot of these during COVID, a lot of restaurants that were struggling because their business is not set up, like the restaurant that I was working in, for example, was not set up to do to-go food.
Same.
And definitely not set for like Grubhub or delivery services. So they like say, okay, well, you sign up with us. We'll send you all the product you need. We'll send you all the packaging materials, and then you'll be good to go. And then you just sell Beast Burger out of your restaurant and make some money. But it is how you can ensure the quality of your product when it could be coming out of literally any restaurant. I don't know.
It's crazy. I mean, you can't. I mean, that is the answer. I mean, like,
no, you can't.
I mean, Eddie kind of gets into it, but they're like, he orders some Mr. Beast burger and winds up getting something that like looks nothing like the burger. But like, I imagine that some of them are, you know, of course, some are more well ran than others.
Right.
But like, you definitely can't. I mean, it's really like you're putting this name on this thing. And that like brings us to another point, which is like it's like big in the celebrity game. So I'm a celebrity of some level. I'm an influencer on some level, and I have people that are interested in whatever I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take my name and I'm going to build this concept. So the way that it kind of works is like you can go to one of these bigger virtual kitchen companies. One of the ones that I'm aware of is the virtual dining concepts. And that's the one that like Mr. Beast does. And so like I don't know if it's like they will come to a celebrity or a celebrity comes to them or any combination of that. Right. But they're like, okay, I'm Flava Flav and I want to do Flava Flav wings. And they're like, okay, well, here are all the wing flavors that we offer out of this concept. if you want to pick a few of them, we'll design some sort of marketing to go along with it, or we will work together to do that. And then you'll put your concept out. You'll immediately have restaurants all over the country, because these things are everywhere in every major city. Like, not even like, it doesn't even have to be a major city to have them. I don't know the exact count in Charlotte, but I imagine that there's like at least a handful in Charlotte. And I say a handful of virtual kitchens, meaning that there's probably hundreds of restaurant brands that they're operating with. So yeah, I mean, then you're just like, I don't know, it's just like kind of a money ploy. It is like full, like, using brand to make a quick buck. It's I mean, there are celebrities that do fun food stuff, right? I don't know. I have a problem with the whole thing. So I don't know. Like, how do you feel about it in general? Like, is there a world where like it's not as bad as I think that it is?
I think it's definitely kind of icky, right? Like it doesn't
Right.
feel right, especially like the weird thing is that some of these like I got one here, it's just wings for Chili's. Apparently in other places like they also come out of Carrabba's, which I guess they're probably under the same, restaurant umbrella. So like it kind of makes sense in a little bit, but it's also weird. And then also I've got this restaurant Fresh Set, a restaurant called Chicken Sammy's, and another one called the Wing Depot that all come out of Red Robin. So, and like they just kind of mix and match. So,
and the food is probably like already on the Red Robin menu, right? Is that like how you see that?
I don't know. I don't believe so, but like I also couldn't tell you one way or another.
They're probably like, so if you picture yourself as the kitchen manager at the Red Robin, right? Like, they have wings, so they're just going to buy more wings to support this thing. Like, so maybe like,
you would think, yeah.
Maybe yeah, so like you're just going to get like however many wings you think that your restaurant needs. So that's Red Robin, and also including whatever virtual restaurants you're serving. Now you might get like these virtual dining concepts, I imagine like there must be some level of consistency. So like I would kind of expect like, okay, hey Brian, you own restaurant A, you are going to open up, or you're going to start serving Mr. Beast Burger. Here is all the Mr. Beast sauce that you need. And they like send that to you in a packet or whatever, like big bags of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you probably like use that. So you're like, okay, I'll buy whatever burgers that I usually get. I'll put it on whatever, because you know how it is. Like, I don't want to fully say this, because in our world, in like the non-massive like Red Robin world, like you're kind of always like, yeah, hopefully you have consistent bread that you're getting, but like there's always those times where you're gonna have to like, fuck, I just have to get this bread because that's what's available. So you wind up having like a different bun or something,
sure,
right? Like when you're working at like Red Robin, they might be bigger than that in the sense that like they send the same bread, and they have like warehouses that house all that bread, and then they like distribute that to all their little silos, all their little restaurants, right? So so I would imagine that you're kind of like, hey, can you do this? Like, can you make a chicken sandwich that's kind of like this? And then they're like, yeah, this is what we make currently. If I give you the sauce, will you serve this thing? And we'll give you a cut of it. And I think that's the game as far as I see it. I'm not sure that it might not be exactly like the way that I think that it is, but I can picture it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to imagine that they're like, okay, like you sign up with us, and we're gonna start sending you Cisco deliveries, even if that's not like your normal, food purveyor. It's like on Tuesdays you're gonna start getting Cisco deliveries of Beast Burger and buns.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's a good thought for sure. Or I mean, maybe some of this stuff like isn't even like conceptualized in the way that I think that it is, right? Because like a lot of this stuff, like you can just go to Cisco and be like, hey, I want some teriyaki sauce, and they'll just bring you teriyaki sauce, right? Like,
yeah.
So maybe that's closer to what they're offering. They might not really be doing custom like recipe development at all. They might just be like throwing together Cisco US Foods stuff and turning that into something that, you know, taking really good pictures of it and putting some fun branding on it. And then like all of a sudden you like, I don't know, a lot of that food like isn't great, but for 80% of Americans couldn't fucking tell the difference. And honestly, like they want fucking the whatever like basic ass food more than I think we would like to admit. I think the average consumer like just wants that super basic, super sugary shit, dude. I mean, dude, the people that I work with now are like,
for sure.
I think I said to them the other day, I was like, these people have the fucking taste buds of a 5-year-old, dude. Like, it's just like,
Oh yeah,
it's like chicken sandwich. Like, whoa, bacon? Like, what kind of bacon? Like, what do you mean? Like, the sauce? Is that ketchup? That's spicy. That's just too spicy for me, you know? Yeah, it's wild.
One of the craziest things that I came across when researching this is that according to Business Insider, it says according to a joint report by Grubhub and then the market research firm Technomic, 41% of independent restaurants are operating virtual restaurants.
That's so crazy. That's so many restaurants.
That is so many that it makes me think that there's no possible way that could be true.
Well, so is it
41%? That is insane.
But is it like, I'm wondering if the numbers are skewed because of how many operate out of the same place. Because if it's like there are, let's say that there's like,
could be.
Let's take a simple number of like 10, right? There's like 10 physical restaurants and they're operating like 30 virtual restaurants. Like, does that skew the number to be like, oh, there's actually like the percentage is like, is really high?
And what is taken? I mean, what is considered as an independent restaurant? Is it? Are you talking like
kitchen?
A single standalone restaurant is an independent?
Yeah. So like a location of Red Robin would be a standalone restaurant, I would think.
But then I guess in this country, probably 80 to 90% of all of our restaurants are probably chain restaurants.
Yeah.
So if they're all fucking doing that, then like it's going to skew the number big time.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
And like,
I couldn't believe that number when I read that.
How do we know, Ronnie, that this is food that is coming from a virtual restaurant or not?
Yeah. So I found that DoorDash actually does label virtual restaurants on their app. So it'll say something along the lines of like a concept from Mr. Beast brought to you by Virtual Dining Concepts, or it'll just say like this is a virtual restaurant or something like that along those lines.
Virtual
but
brand.
Uber Eats and Grubhub do not label those things. So if you wanted to ensure that what you were ordering was from a legitimate, brick and mortar restaurant and not one of these shell games, you could look up their address and like Google Street View or something, try to find like what the actual restaurant looks like. A lot of them are like kind of obvious by the name as well. There's a lot of like really cheesy names like Badass Burger Shack, or like they're just like they're like really,
yeah,
like I said, all the names kind of seem like they were like shot out by ChatGPT, and then also like all the photos are just stock image looking photos.
Red and white like paper around a sandwich, like whatever, like brown to go container with no branding. Some of them do have branding, which is even more confusing, right? Like because these are like, I don't know, I'm gonna call them like not higher end, but like more well branded designs. They have like their own boxes and stuff. There was the one that was like NASCAR wings, right? And it's like you can get these all over the country and they come in their own box. They're really generic because there are other virtual wing restaurants that serve the exact same flavors of wings, but it does have like really like is like heavily branded down to the packaging.
Right.
And even potentially like the bag that you're getting.
It's also what's confusing about it, because if you look up like the Mr. Beast burger, like it has like super colorful burger packaging with like the Mr. Beast logo and stuff. And then in Eddie's video, he gets it and it's just like, yeah, like it looks like your mom packed school lunch in like a brown paper bag. It doesn't look any.
I'm tempted to try it, but like also part of me is like, what a waste of time that would be.
Right.
Because I already know, right? Like you already know that you're like, it's not like you could get a different Mr. Beast burger in Texas and Austin as you could in Charlotte, as you could in New York. They might all be 3 different fucking burgers.
Yeah.
There almost certainly are 3 very different burgers.
Maybe you should order a Beast burger and I will order a Beast burger, and then we can compare.
Sounds fun.
What's going to happen is we're just going to get 2 miserable burgers.
Yeah.
Be upset that we bought them for the pod.
Some we'll throw it on the bill. They some of them like looked so bad. Some of them looked good. Some of the food looked good when it came out.
All those fish sandwiches I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah,
but
fine. I mean, like coleslaw, like piece of like fried fish and an okay bun, but like I don't know, that Mr. Beast burger that I saw was like pretty rough looking compared to like supposed to be like a double smash burger on like a nice bun, and like it's like a shitty like a Food Lion patty on like some shitty bread. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, I've had backyard barbecue or backyard cookout burgers that look better than that.
Yeah. Fuck.
I'd say most of them actually. If you're going to be ordering food from any of these delivery apps, it's obviously your money. You can spend it however you would like, but taking the time to order from and making sure that you're ordering from, a local brick and mortar mom and pop restaurant would really go a long way and means a lot more to the restaurants that you're ordering from than it does to some tech startup.
100%. And you're almost certainly going to get a better product out of the deal as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's tough.
Instead of just complete soulless food.
But like, I mean, I think it's admirable that DoorDash does label the virtual restaurants, but
I agree.
Man, with having Uber Eats and Grubhub not labeling the virtual brands, that really makes it like there's only one way to know, and that's like looking up the address on these places to me. And like I was even like looking at some ones, and then I was like taking that address and trying to like pop that into Google, but you don't even really like that's not even super helpful all the time. You can't really know if it is or isn't by that. There's not enough information a lot of times, because sometimes it's a building that does have actually multiple physical restaurants in it, and it is kind of obvious. Like obviously, if you look at Google Street View and you see the restaurant and there's tables in there, then that's a good sign. But yeah, I guess you don't always know if it's not.
Yeah, and I don't often order Grubhub or DoorDash or any delivery service for that matter, but knowing that information alone would definitely make me more likely to order from DoorDash than any of those other companies.
Yeah.
Just the transparency of knowing that at least when I'm ordering food, I'm ordering from who I think I'm ordering from.
For sure. Shall we dive into our idiot sandwiches this week, Ronnie?
What are you? Idiot.
You stupid idiot.
I'm an idiot sandwich.
You're an idiot.
Of all the idiots, you stand alone.
So the other night, 2 nights ago, we get home from playing a little volleyball, and Sam was like, I'm gonna throw some of these burgers on. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I don't want to cook right now. Like get those on. So throws a couple patties on the cast iron, cuts up a bunch of vegetables, we got some cheese, whatever cheese, and throws together a couple of burgers. And there's also, we didn't have any like lettuce or like kind of nice like greens to go on top, so we put some like raw like dino kale on top.
Okay,
fine by me. It's a it's thick, but fine. And so we sit down to dinner, and I like take my first bite of the burger, and I'm like, damn, that dino kale is kind of thick. Like, it's kind of took a little bit to bite through that, and that's kind of normal. I mean, dino kale's thick, right? Like, it is a chewy bitch. So I take my second bite. I'm like, that's a little not right, and I look down, and there is a piece of cheese paper between the cheese and the patty. And I had already eaten a full bite of the paper by the time I'm realizing this. So my idiot sandwich this week goes, we'll give a full point to Sammy for putting the paper on my burger, and I'll take a half point for eating the paper.
That's too funny. I was wondering who was going to get the point there. That's so funny.
Great job, Sammy.
Great job, Sammy. All right. This was back at Plum Jack. I'm going to call him Danny. So this kid, Danny, comes on to the restaurant, and he was friends with some other people that worked in the building. Plum Jack was a hotel as well as a restaurant. And so he knew some of the people on the hotel side, and I think he knew one of the servers as well. They went way back, and so they all had, good things to say about him. I don't know that anybody really knew like what kind of actual experience he had, but he came in very confident, seemed to, I don't want to say he like talked up a big game, but he came in like very confident, and everyone thought that he had a good amount of experience. And so he immediately started on the dining room line, which, most people work their way up to that. But they seemed to think that he was good enough to start over there. And it took a little while, but, colors started to show little by little. With anybody, you start them off and you be patient with them, kind of walk them through each little thing. And then once they're kind of on their own, then it's really becomes apparent what they do and don't know. I think at this point, he had kind of already been exposed a little bit. And I think that he had been bumped down to the bar line because our chef had asked him to shred some mozzarella in the Robocoup. And for those that don't know, Robocoup is a food processor. And typically, if you're shredding cheese in it, you put on the cheese shredder attachment and you cut up the block of mozzarella and you throw it in piece by piece and shred it. He cut this thing damn near in half and just threw it in with the regular blade attachment and let that thing go. And it was jumping all over the counter, and it fucking dropped off to the top of the Robocoup. Just like exploded off of it. What's that?
Could have killed someone.
Yeah, dude, a Robocoup's very heavy. They weigh like a good 15, 20 pounds probably.
And they're strong. And they're with like a block, like a half block, like probably talking about what, like 2 pounds of cheese, with a 5 pound block, right? So you're talking about like a 2 pound, 2.5 pound block, maybe even like a pound block thrown into a food processor is going to cause some damage. Probably burnt the motor out. Yeah, it's crazy.
It was like when your dryer is off, or the washer or whatever, it's the weight is off and the thing starts jumping around. Well, that's what this food processor did, and it started jumping around, and he was so green that he didn't know how to quickly grab it and turn it off, and that thing just started bouncing across the table and fell on the floor and exploded off. Yeah. And I think from that day on he was in Garmin-J, at least for a while. So
Danny,
congratulations. Congratulations, bud. We all start somewhere.
Still there. Some people are still there.
Good. Well,
started from the bottom.
Yeah.
Now we're at the bottom.
The world needs ditch diggers too. All right, man. That was a good episode. I had fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, Ronnie. Thank you, everyone. Follow, like, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time. Love you.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.